Angels spring training baseball this afternoon from Scottsdale Stadium. The Angels get set to open up the Cactus League season, taking on the San Francisco Giants. Beautiful day here in Scottsdale. Terry Smith along with Jose Mota. Jose, it's hard to believe it starts today for the Angels. A lot of things have changed this offseason, and one thing the Angels are hoping is that things change and they can get back into the postseason.
For them to do that, consider, Terry, that they need to hit the baseball. The Angels came within a game of being a wild card team and only 3 games away from the division leaders, the Texas Rangers. But all this done, Terry, with poor offense. One of the poorest offenses in all of baseball in slugging and on base. But the encouraging thing is that you still have 2 guys that lead you. That is Albert Pujols, who surprised the world of baseball last year with 40 home runs, and Mike Trout with 41. Another MVP-type season for Mike Trout. And for Trout, there's no doubt he's a better player now than he was 2 years ago. And it's hard to say that because this guy's unbelievable. What a talent when it comes down to just running up the game. And for Albert Pujols, the true leader in this ball club, feeling comfortable now. Remember, he had surgery on his right foot right after the season, but he has not been restricted at all here early in camp, and he looks forward to being on the field very soon. And for these 2 guys combined, you know, Terry, it is a headache when you combine them, and Mike Socha talks about keeping them together and coring them up. And, of course, we know that they have learned from each other, and they know they can carry the load again offensively for this ball club.
Well, Mike Socha obviously liking what he's seen so far from Albert Pujols this spring.
We're going to let his foot talk to us and let us know how it feels, where he is. Today he's full go to do some ground balls and defensive drills too. That's all part of the process, and you know Albert does know his body, and he'll stay with us and knows how important it is for him to be in the lineup.
Terry, Albert Pujols, very clear. Day 1 of spring training, he told Mike Socha, we will have a program that I will follow. It seems like that program will have him on the field as a designated hitter on Sunday against the Royals.
Yeah, he certainly appears to be ahead of schedule at this early stage here in spring training. Well, one of the other new faces for the Angels, and there are a lot of them as we get ready to open up the Cactus League season, is the new general manager, Billy Epler.
He's brought in a vision, a plan, and really a fearless attitude on the things they needed to do. Trading away a very popular player like Eric Ibar and adding some great pieces. But for Billy Epler, it's about passion for the game. It's about what he's learned with the New York Yankees, now implementing that into his system and method that hopefully will make a winner here with the Angels.
Well, as we get ready for the Cactus League season to begin, you look at the Angels' 40-man roster, about a 40% turn as far as players on that roster. We'll see a lot of them today. Of the 9 in the starting lineup, 6 of them are newcomers.
I think it's great for Mike Socha to get a look early as to what needs to happen on the field to start evaluating guys as they fight for spots. But when you address your needs, you understand that there's some things that you need to plug in. Big question on left field. Is it Nava or Gentry? Is it a combination? How is the bullpen going to round out after trading a guy like Trevor Gott? But mainly, Terry, the key guy is that great shortstop, the wizard, Anderson Simmons. Man, this guy is pretty much a highlight reel himself. He can go out there and improve on his hitting by staying close with that front shoulder, but you're going to see a guy that can cover a lot of range, outstanding in his zone rating, and also a guy that has a plus arm. It should be exciting to watch him all season long.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to watch Simmons play a lot of games at shortstop for the Angels. The pitching matchup today, it's going to be Hector Santiago going for the Halos and a newcomer for the Giants, but a veteran pitcher, Jeff Samardzija.
I think for Hector, starts right away. Be economical, stay on your game. You are a former All-Star. Go out there and prove once again they belong in the Angels rotation.
As far as Hector Santiago today, expected to go 2 innings, maybe 30 pitches. Matt Shoemaker will take over for him, and then we'll see some other Angel relievers as we get deeper into the game. Well, it's the Angels and the San Francisco Giants today here in Scottsdale. The Cactus League is getting ready to open up here in the Valley. We'll have all the action for you on Fox Sports West.
Stadium. It is a beautiful day here in Scottsdale, about 82 degrees for first pitch. I'm Alex Curry, and we've got a couple of veteran managers matching up for this first game, and Bruce Bochy and Mike Scioscia, both very well respected around the league. So let's get it started with Scioscia's starting lineup. Leading off for the Halos at second base, number 12, Johnny Giafitella. Batting second at shortstop, number 7, Cliff Pennington. Batting third at DH, Ji-Man Choi. Cleanup is C.J. Cron, who we will be seeing a lot at first base, all pending Albert Pujols' health. Batting fifth, Carlos Perez behind the plate. Batting sixth, third baseman, Jeff Marte. Batting seventh in center field, Craig Gentry, one of the new additions for the Halos this offseason. Batting eighth in right field, Todd Cunningham. And batting ninth out in left field, Rafael Ortega. Hector Santiago taking the mound, starting off for the spring for the Angels for his second straight year. And taking a look at the Giants, leading off, Kelby Tomlinson at shortstop. Batting second, second baseman Joe Panik. Batting third, first baseman Brandon Belt. Cleanup, Buster Posey behind the plate. Batting fifth, Jarrett Parker in right field. Batting sixth, DH Brandon Crawford. Batting seventh, Mac Williamson. Batting eighth, Connor Gillespie at third base. And batting ninth, Gorkys Hernandez in center field. And on the mound for the Giants is Jeff Samardzija, former All-American wide receiver at Notre Dame, getting it started. So let's head upstairs right now to Terry Smith and Jose Mota for this first spring training game.
Jeff Samardzija loosening up with his battery mate, and that is the all-star Buster Posey. We are just a couple minutes away from the start of today's ball game. The umpires, Ted Barrett, will call balls and strikes, and on the bases we'll have Dana Demuth, Ron Kolpa, and also Sean Barber. Angels, Jose wearing the red tops and the gray pants. And as far as the Giants, they have on the black tops with the orange numerals and lettering. They have the kind of off-white cream-colored pants. And they expect a full house as they usually have it here at Scottsdale Stadium for Giants Cactus League home games.
For years, this has been a favorite of the fans and many of the visitors here in the Valley of the Sun here in the Phoenix area. And certainly, it seems like every game that is played here is a championship game. Every game is a playoff game, and pretty much gives you a good feel about what the regular season has to hold for the San Francisco Giants playing at home.
One thing, you look at the Angels lineup today, and you just gave it to our listeners, and the lineup today, not a whole lot of familiar names. In fact, 6 of the 9 in the starting lineup weren't even in the Angels organization this time a year ago, and a lot of the higher profile Angel players, for the most part, staying back in Tempe today.
Well, Mike Scioscia, veteran manager, understands what it takes to get these guys ready, and they've had a nice camp, no issues with injuries so far, and we'll see how it all pans out as the regulars kind of get more increased work and certainly get inserted into this lineup. So here very soon, Terry.
So we are just about ready to get the Cactus League underway today here in Scottsdale. Johnny Giavitella getting ready to lead things off. Taps the plate with his bat. Samardzija gets the sign from his catcher Posey, and here's the first pitch today. It's on the outside corner. We're underway. It's a called strike to count 0-1. Around the infield for the Giants, they have Brandon Belt at first base, Joe Panik at second. Connor Gillespie, who spent some time with the Angels a year ago, is the third baseman, trying to win a spot on the Giants opening day roster. And Kelby Tomlinson is the shortstop. Here's the next pitch. That's grounded on the right side, right at the first baseman Belt. He'll solo to the bag, and Giavitella is an easy out. So one gone. Cliff Pennington, one of the Angel newcomers, will be the next batter. Outfield for San Francisco, they have Mac Williamson playing in left. Gorkys Hernandez is the center fielder with Jarrett Parker in right. We are seeing both teams use a designated hitter here today, even though we're playing in a National League Cactus League ballpark. So yeah, Brandon Crawford will DH for San Francisco.
Well, last couple of seasons, I'm glad that's been happening more and more around the National League ballpark, especially early in camp. Later on, when pitchers need to get a better feel for what they have to do at the plate for the National League, then they start getting more at-bats and more appearances.
Cliff Pennington at the plate takes the first pitch, and that one missed for a ball. The count's 1-0. He's a switch hitter, veteran player with the D-backs and the Toronto Blue Jays a year ago. Signed a 2-year deal with the Angels during the offseason, and the next pitch grounds it sharply, but it's right to second. That's gobbled up by Panik, and Pennington is an easy out. So a couple balls hit on the right side of the infield, nothing to show for it. And the next batter will be the DH switch hitter for the Angels, Ji-Man Choi from South Korea.
Very popular player around camp so far. Interview requests. The fact that he can hit from both sides of the plate. He's a big man who has a great history, numbers-wise, so far throughout his career in the minors.
His problem has been staying healthy. Had a lot of injury issues last year, and it started in spring training last year when he was part of the Seattle organization. He cuts at that pitch and misses it for strike one. 84 degrees today as we get the Cactus League underway here in the Valley. 2 outs, no one on, just underway and no score. Samardzija ready, and the pitch misses high with that fastball. Samardzija wrapped up last season with an 11-13 record with the Chicago White Sox. His ERA was just a tick under 5 a year ago. And with that said, he became a free agent and signed a 5-year, $90 million deal with San Francisco.
Still a premier pitcher who had an off year last year, but certainly he knew the pressure that was on him.
Here's a ground ball out of the reach of Panic, and that's going to skip through into right center field. That's a 2-out base hit for Ji-Man Choi.
That's why the Angels talk about his swing. Could be a surprise in that roster heading to Southern California. Nice stroke, short and quick, all throughout that whole at bat. You can see the adjustments Ji-Man made.
So the batter now is C.J. Cron. Cron figures to see a lot of playing time for the Angels when the regular season gets underway, whether or not it'll be at first base initially or as a designated hitter. Today he is the Angels cleanup man playing at first base. Right-handed batter who hit .262 a year ago with 16 homers. He takes that one for a called strike, 0-1.
Really came into his own, Terry, at pressure time, really. You know, a couple of demotions the last couple of seasons really woke him up. But C.J. Cron and the Angels in the thick of things. It seems like in September, it seems like every game was a playoff game. He had 20 RBIs for the Angels in September.
One thing about Cron, he will swing the bat, very rarely walks, and the pitch. He takes that one, it's a little bit outside. He had 17 walks last year in 378 at-bats.
He is swinging. Hopefully, with the experience he does have now, especially hitting in the middle lineup, he's got a better understanding how they're going to pitch to him, and that just because you're guessing right on a pitch doesn't mean you have to go out there and swing when it bounces.
Very aggressive hitter with raw power. He can really hit it a long way. He lines this one sharply, but it's right at Panic, and that's how the inning will end. So not much for the Angels, just a hit but no runs. You're listening to the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Bottom of the first inning here in Scottsdale. No score as Angels starter Hector Santiago is ready to face the leadoff man for the Giants, Kelby Tomlinson, and that one is in there for strike one. No balls and one strike. Very light breeze here today, 84 degrees, bright sunshine, and the next pitch, that one is fouled off over by the Giants dugout. So the count jumps to 0-2 on Tomlinson, who spent some time last year with the Giants. Hit .303, played in 54 games for them. He's at shortstop today, and their regular shortstop Brandon Crawford's in the lineup at DHing, and there's a pitch that misses. 1-2 the count. Defensively for the Angels, C.J. Cron at first, Johnny Giavotella at second, Jeffrey Marte at third with Cliff Pennington at short. There's one low and outside, and the count 2-2.
Hector Santiago, all-star for the Angels last season, really tailed off second half of the season, and he's not afraid to say it. There's some things he knows he has to prepare his body for that demanding second half.
There's a fly ball lifted into right field, not very deep at all, toward the line, and waiting is the right fielder Todd Cunningham, who makes the catch for the Angels. That's the first out.
Hector really surprised many people around the game, and in fact some people around the Angels staff. And how strong he came, about 180 and 2/3 innings, 3.5 ERA. The one thing that will always follow him, hopefully not always, let me just backtrack, hopefully he'll cut down on some pitches, Terry, and go a little bit deeper into games.
Drew Panik at the plate, and he takes that pitch for a called strike, 0-1. Panik, a left-handed batter, and he was an all-star last year for the Giants, first time in his career. Hit .312 a year ago. Takes that one, it's in there again, and the count 0-2. Well, you mentioned Santiago, and it certainly was a tale of two seasons last year for him. First half of the season, ERA was 2.33. You mentioned he was an all-star. There's a called third strike and a beautiful pitch on the outside corner that freezes Panik. Struck him out looking 2 away.
Not messing around and incorporating that fastball and getting a feel for it. Hector's one of those guys that spring training or not, he's got one thing in mind, is to be aggressive, get a plan, and follow that plan. Right now, that plan is get that fastball over.
So here is Brandon Belt. He's the Giants' first baseman, and another left-handed hitter. Takes that pitch, and that one pitch and misses, ball one. Belt hit .280 a year ago with 18 home runs. And the next pitch, that's on the outside corner. Santiago, we were talking about, tale of two seasons for him a year ago. The low ERA that got him an all-star berth in the first half, but the second half of last season, his ERA was almost 5.5. Really tailed off in the second half of 2015, and that pitch missed outside. It's now 3-0 on Belt.
Terry, here we go with the shift as we begin.
Yep.
Brandon Belt, lefty matchup. See a lot of communication right now between Johnny Giavotella in short right field and his new partner on the shortstop side, and Cliff Pennington.
A pitch in there on Belt takes the 3-0. It's now 3-1. Buster Posey waiting on deck. And the next pitch, chopped on the right side. That's a fair ball. It's grounded there to Giavotella, who throws out Brandon Belt, and the inning is over. Just 10 pitches. They go down 1-2-3. No score after one. You're listening to the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West.
Ducks Hockey on
Second inning we go. Carlos Perez leads it off. First pitch from Samardzija. Perez cuts on it, fouls it back out of play. I want to remind you this copyrighted broadcast presented by authority of Angels Baseball may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of today's game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Angels Baseball. Terry Smith, Jose Mota with you. Our producer engineer, Darren Chan, and there's one a little bit low and away. 1 ball, 1 strike on Carlos Perez. Perez entering camp with a chance to be the Angels' #1 catcher here in 2016. A year ago this time he was just fighting to win a spot on the roster as that one is fouled back, and as it turned out he didn't win an opening day spot on the roster in 2015.
The Angels went with Chris Iannetta and Drew Butera.
Yep.
And eventually Carlos forced his way up to the roster as the Angels were struggling. And came up, spent some time splitting, and then overall took over the job.
Here he lines one down the left field side, and that is a fair ball. It's going to bounce all the way down in the corner by the 360 sign, and that'll be an easy stand-up double there for Carlos Perez. Had a good swing at that pitch from Samardzija. The Angels' second hit so far today. Lead-off double. Runner in scoring position for newcomer Jeffrey Marte.
A nice piece of hitting there by the Angels catcher. A little check swing got him confused. Samardzija still have that plus stuff. But he pitches and a lot of movement. And Carlos does a good job. And key for Carlos towards the end of the season, Don Baylor, former Angels hitting coach, was to make sure he stays with 2 hands as he finishes that swing.
Here's the pitch on Marte, and he takes that one for a called strike. Marte was in the Tigers organization last year, 33 games with Detroit, hit .213. Spent most of last year at AAA Toledo. He was with the Toledo Mud Hens last year.
That's an old baseball name right there.
Here's the pitch, and this is chopped towards short, breaking to third, and getting there is Perez. Only one play, first base in time to get the batter, Jeffrey Marte, but that's a productive out. It gets the runner to third, 1 out for Craig Gentry.
That's a big man with a lot of power going out there and pretty much getting the job done. That's going to get a lot of handshakes in that dugout. He did a good job fighting. The pitcher was getting in on his hands and keeping the barrel just inside of it to do the job.
So here's Gentry as they bring the infield in a bit.
Only $9 for a 12-ounce Taker Steve.
Right-handed batter, and the pitch on Craig Gentry. That one is low and outside. Gentry is 32 years old. He's a veteran player who had a rough season a year ago, and actually spent most of last season, as it turned out, in the minors.
Certainly looking to bounce back as a big leaguer. There's some concussion issues from previous months. Could have affected his play last year.
Yep. There's a pitch that's way up and in on him for a ball.
But he did not use that as an excuse. The numbers were not all there as expected from a guy like him in the Pacific Coast League. And really looking forward to this opportunity. This man can really run and can really go get him in the outfield.
Infield stays in, and here's the next one on Gentry. That's way outside. That pitch misses. So the count jumps to 3-0 on Gentry, who was with the Oakland A's when last season began, and he got off to such a bad start. He was 6 for 50, and they sent him down to AAA, and that's pretty much where he finished up last season. He hit only 120 in the big leagues last year. The pitch, that's a called strike. But he's a .265 career hitter in the majors.
He should be a plus for the Angels within a platoon of left field with Daniel Nava. We'll see how things work out at the very end of camp. Well, action for the Angels coaches as Gary DiSarcina has moved over to first base. And Ron Renicky, welcome back to the Angels. He is at third base now, coaching.
Here's the 3-1, and Gentry checks. Did he go around? No. It's a high fastball, and it's ball 4, so the Angels have him at the corners, and Todd Cunningham, a switch hitter who was in the Braves organization last year, will be the next Angel batter.
There's once again, because of the plus movement and late movement from Samardzija. We've seen a couple of check swings. This is early camp when your eyes are still getting trained to pick up speed, rotation, timing issues. Good job there by Gentry holding on.
So Cunningham digs in from the left side. Hit 221 with the Atlanta Braves last year. And there's a toss over to first base, and diving back to the bag goes the base runner Gentry, who can steal bases. This is an interesting situation here because Cunningham is a good contact man at the plate. He's a very good bunter. And, you know, Mike Scioscia likes to kind of spice it up a lot, especially in the Cactus League. Here's the pitch. He takes a cut at that one and misses it for a strike.
Well, the Angels need to spice it up offensively in the regular season. That was the only reason the Angels did not make the playoffs, is the poor offense, amongst the worst in all of baseball. And hopefully by incorporating more of the base running, the plays that you talk about are used a lot in the Cactus League, and having that whole roster, that lineup thicker, will help Mike Scioscia get more runs on the board for his pitchers.
Angels a year ago hit 247 as a team, and that was 27th out of 30 teams as far as team batting average a year ago.
And still 3 games away from the lead in the division,
right,
and a game away from the wild card spot, thanks to the pitching.
Here's the next pitch on Cunningham, a tie and outside. To illustrate the lack of offense even more from a year ago, the Angels scored 112 fewer runs last year than the year before. 112. When you're almost approaching a run a game less.
Exactly. Yeah. They led all of baseball in average runs per game in 2014.
1 ball, 1 strike on Cunningham, and there's a pickoff toss over to third base. If you make that move over there, you have to throw it over there now. Otherwise, that's a balk. So Samardzija keeping Perez a little tighter.
It's one of those plays. We might see a lot of those in spring training, but to me, it's a waste. It really is. But since you work on it, I guess you got to incorporate it.
Here's the next pitch. That's fouled back to our left, backing out of play. No score. We're in the second inning here from Scottsdale. Angels and the Giants in the Cactus League opener.
Taryn, here's a situation where you're looking for contact, and we're talking about the Angels' lack of offense, situational hitting. But it really bears down to just simplifying things and cutting down the strikeouts and putting the ball in play. That's how the Royals got it done the last couple of seasons.
1-2 pitch, and that's inside. So the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Jeff Samardzija spent some 6.5 seasons with the Cubs, but when he was with them, they weren't as good as they appear to be now.
They're attracting a lot of people.
Yep.
A lot of free agents ended up signing for less with the Cubs. There's a reason why.
2-2, and that one missed a little bit outside. So Cunningham has worked a full count here, doing a good job. He's fouled off some pitches, battling. And it's 3 balls, 2 strikes. 9-hole hitter, the left fielder, Rafael Ortega, who was in the Cardinals organization a year ago, waits on deck. See what happens on the payoff, and it's grounded foul on the third base side. This is a good at-bat here for Cunningham. We mentioned he's a contact guy, and he's making Samardzija throw pitches.
There's a spring training swing right there. It's like Johnny Givatellis. Hitters go out there with the idea of not being too far ahead and being jumpy early in camp, but also it's a little bit better to be late at this point because you're not going out to get the baseball and you track a little bit better and your timing gets there quicker.
There goes Gentry again, and the pitch is low, and it's back-to-back walks, and now the bases are loaded. That was an excellent at-bat right there by Todd Cunningham.
That's one way for you to spread your lineup.
And Samardzija's a pitcher who's been a strikeout pitcher, but he couldn't get it by Cunningham. He draws the walk, and now with the bases loaded, here is Rafael Ortega. Venezuelan native. Hit 286 last year in AAA Cardinals system. Not much power, good speed. Angels signed him as a free agent this past December. So he bats with runners everywhere. The pitch, and he lifts it in the air into right field, but it's right at the right fielder Parker. He'll make the catch, tagging at third, coming in to score easily on the sac fly will be Carlos Perez. It's 1-0 Angels.
There's a plus. Great at bats all throughout this inning, starting with Perez and the double. Marte moving him over. A couple of walks, hard fought by Gentry Cunningham, and now Ortega gets it done.
So runners at first and second, 2 outs. Angels getting some production out of the bottom part of the batting order. And now the leadoff man is up again. Johnny Giavitelli grounded out to start off this ball game. 1-0 Angels here in the second.
And keep in mind that the pitches start to accumulate very quickly here for some margin.
Here's the pitch, and that one is outside. 1 ball, no strikes on Giavitelli. Johnny Giavitelli, another batter who will swing the bat. Just 32 walks last year and over 450 at bats.
This guy was a true spark for the Angels, no matter where they hit him.
Next pitch, checks on that one, went around for a strike.
Sure, and I continue to make my case for Johnny Giavitelli as a leadoff hitter option for this team.
Well, as you're aware, I asked Mike Socia, should we read into Giavitelli being the leadoff batter today in the Cactus League opener, and he said absolutely not. Don't read anything into Giavitelli leading off today.
Only until he needs somebody to lead off, because somebody needs to go out there and hit a little bit lower.
Here's a slow ground ball that's fielded by the shortstop. The throw is just in time by Tomlinson. That was a nice play to nip Giavitelli, and that's how the inning will end. But the Angels get a run, have a 1-0 lead going to the bottom of the second. You're listening to the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Driven by... Bottom of the second we go. It's 1-0 Angels. Today's game being brought to you by In-N-Out Burger. That's what a hamburger's all about. So Hector Santiago working with a slim 1-0 lead as he gets set to work here in the bottom of the second. Buster Posey, the batter. Giants all-star catcher, takes the first pitch for ball one. It's 1 ball, no strikes. Here's the next one on Posey, and he lines one into center field. That's going to drop in for a base hit. So the first San Francisco hit of the day, leadoff single by Posey, and Jared Parker will be the next batter.
He's one of the best players in the game overall, and a huge step last season for Buster Posey. What he did behind the plate and defensive runs saved.
Posey, a career .310 hitter. And that's saying something when the majority of his at-bats, not all of them, but majority of them coming as a catcher. He's playing a little bit more first base in recent seasons. Figures to play a little bit at that position again this year, but most of the time behind the plate for the Giants. There's a pitch that Parker takes for ball. 1 ball, no strikes on the left-handed hitter.
Terry, and the Giants, where the former catcher as their manager, Bruce Bochy, does a great job balancing that act you talk about on keeping Posey in the lineup, but also keeping him fresh.
Next pitch on Parker, and he takes a big cut at that one and misses it. And he is a guy who will get his swings in. He strikes out a lot. He was a 2020 player last year in AAA, but he had a memorable game last year for the Giants against the Oakland A's in the Babe Ridge series. 3 home run game against Oakland back in September. He drove in 7 runs in 1 game. Here's the pitch, and that one on the left-handed batter is outside. 2-1.
Hector came into this inning having thrown 13 pitches in that first inning. And one thing for Hector is stay in that lane, which is very obvious. But also now he says his follow-through must be in line. He says, I can swing over, but I need to have the follow-through be straight and then cross my body over.
Next pitch on Parker, and that's taken for a strike.
And for that follow-through, he says, as he explains to us, to be effective is that back leg, his left leg. Instead of coming around and cutting across, he's got to see it land on that dirt.
Santiago facing the Giants today with the luxury of sorts of seeing 5 left-handed hitters in their starting lineup. Here's the next pitch, and there is a cut and a miss, and sure enough, Parker goes down on strikes. Struck him out. Second strikeout for Santiago. He's faced only 5 batters so far, and with 1 out, 1 on, here's Brandon Crawford, who's DHing.
Oh, you're talking about lefties in that lineup. You see the attack by Hector. Everything based on number 1. Hector, tough to hit off of. Last season, he only allowed a .227 average overall combined.
So here's Crawford, who was an all-star a year ago. Hit .256, 21 home runs, 84 driven in. He led the Giants in home runs. Not too often will a shortstop lead his team in home runs.
And not somebody named Brandon Crawford, who came into the league with a reputation of he can get to everything. He'll make outstanding play. He's been a World Series champ, but Terry, he really took it to a highest level last season offensively. And for that, he was rewarded with a very nice contract, too. Well deserved.
1 ball, 1 strike to count. Looking in is Santiago. And here's the next pitch. And that one is a pitch a little bit high and outside.
Crawford himself, a Giants fan throughout his whole life.
From the Bay Area, used to idolize Royce Clayton. And he was with the Giants. Here's a bouncing ball hit back near Santiago. Looks at second, but will throw to first. And Crawford is an easy out. Hector took a look out there. He knew Posey was the base runner, but took the sure out. 2 are gone. Runner at second. And Mac Williamson, the left fielder, will be the next batter.
Got to work with those pitchers, Terry, as you know, here in camp on fielding your position. And you and I had a chance to talk to Benji Molina, who is here as a guest coach. And one of the things Benji really has stressed with his catchers is that communication and making sure that they help the pitchers field their position by simplifying things, giving them enough time to know where they're throwing the baseball. Because as Benji told us, too, he knows the problems the Angels pitchers have had defensively the last couple of seasons.
Yep. At least early in spring training, you see the teams, the Angels, no exception, working a lot on that with their pitchers. They call it pitchers fielding practice, or PFP is the name you always hear around the practice fields when it's going on.
And then the season starts. And
you don't see them work on it as much.
That's right. Now, I'm not saying every team. Some teams do that. They incorporate it maybe once a homestand or something like that, which is great.
Here's a pop-up by Williamson on the right side. Giovatello is going to call off Crow, make the catch a couple feet back on the outfield, and that will end the inning. So the leadoff hit, that was it. We are getting ready to move to the third inning. Angels have a 1-0 lead. You're listening to the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West.
Funny, I never saw it.
New battery for the Giants. We'll get to that in just a moment. Fans, take part in the Angels 5K and Fun Run. It's presented by St. Joseph Home Health, and it'll take place on April the 9th at Angel Stadium. All participants will receive a commemorative shirt and finisher's medal. Register today at angels.com/5K. So the new pitcher is Braulio Lara, and the new catcher for the Giants is George Kataris.
Terry, hold on. Oh, are the pencils and the erasers all set up?
They didn't waste long, Jose. Third inning, and the changes begin. There's a pitch taken by Pennington, the switch hitter who bats right against the lefty, and it's in there for a strike. Pennington grounded out to second his first time up. And here's the next one from Lara, and that is a cut and a miss. Good off-speed pitch. 0-2 the count. We'll give you Samardzij's numbers in just a moment. They were the first two innings for San Francisco. And here's the next pitch. That's popped up foul on the right side by Pennington. And the count holding, it's 0-2.
So Pennington will play a huge role for the Angels this season. Experienced backup middle infielder, or anywhere in the infielder. Most experienced up the middle. And for some of the times the Angels came up a little bit short personnel-wise last season. Experience-wise from that bench, they wasted no time in handing him a 2-year deal.
Another pitch fouled up on the right side, out of play by Pennington. Samardzij worked 2 innings. He gave up 2 hits, a run it was earned, 2 walks, no strikeouts for the Giants starter. And the next pitch, that one taken, and the count 1 ball, 2 strikes. Lara is from the Dominican Republic, and last season he pitched in AA and AAA. Just over 50 innings of work last year in the minors. And here's the pitch. He misses high with that one.
Pretty clear Lara has a very live arm. Pretty good size, straight over the top, working only from the stretch. And the key for him is direction. That front shoulder.
2-2. It's fouled back to the screen. So we'll do it again with the count holding. Lara goes 6'1", 180 pounds. Originally property of Tampa Bay. Then he was in the Marlins organization.
And now to be around a guy like Dave Righetti, Terry, as a lefty, what a plus.
Yep. There's one fouled off again, so Pennington is battling. He grounded out to second his first time up. With Pennington, a veteran player, he's now 31 years old, and he figures to be kind of a super utility guy for the Angels this season. There's a ground ball hit to third, fumbled a bit by Gillespie. His throw takes the first baseman Belt off the bag. So that's going to be an error all the way right there. He had trouble stopping it, and then after he finally got the handle, he made a bad throw.
Those are the issues that have followed Conor Gillespie throughout his career. The defensive aspect where he's come up short. Once he found the baseball, still had time, but he made a good throw to first base to get the runner out.
So the batter now is G-Man Choi.
And now he comes here from the right side. So a nice swing in that single up the middle from the left side in that first inning.
There's a toss over to first. You mentioned Choi switch hitting, and that didn't begin for him at any level until last season.
Think about that.
He had never switched hit even growing up playing baseball in South Korea, and then decided to give it a try last year, and he didn't play that much last year. He was hurt most of last season in the Mariners organization. He misses that one for a strike, 0-1. And he decided to try batting right-handed a little bit and had some success, and now he's a full-time switch hitter.
He's only going to help his cause.
Here's the pitch, and that's outside. Good eye on that one. 1 ball, 1 strike. Choi originally was a catcher. DHing today, can play first base. Here's the pitch on its way. He chases that one, and he was fooled on that breaking pitch. And the count 1-2.
That was a pretty good job there by Braulio Lara. Mix again. Anytime you see somebody like that throwing the ball so hard, you're keyed on that fastball, especially here early in camp when your eyes are not used to any of that breaking stuff.
Choi last year played in only 23 games. Suffered a broken fibula in spring training last year. The pitch, and that one is low and outside. So it's a 2-2 count. Angels have a 1-0 lead. We're in the 3rd inning here in Scottsdale.
I figure Terry, a guy like Choi and like Ortega should be getting a long look here in camp as options for the Angels.
Toss over to first base. Back to the bag goes Pennington.
And a lot of times, and I came to mind when you were talking about Carlos Perez, how he was fighting to get a spot on the roster, but he was also fighting to keep a spot on the spring training roster and not get sent down. And that long look eventually helped him out.
There's a check swing, and Choi holds up on that one. So he's worked the count full, 3-2.
It's nice when managers are so honest and clear and tell a young player, you know, you make it tough for me to send you down to minor league camp. Even if you don't end up making the team, the longer you're here, the better it is for you. Force us to do that. And then those call-ups come, and guess what? You might give yourself a better shot.
Payoff pitch, it's missed. Runner was breaking, and now Pennington is going to be thrown out as he was caught in a rundown. Strike him out, throw him out, double play. Now, Choi tried to protect the runner. He probably chased ball 4 right there. And it turns out to be a double play. So 2 gone, no one on base, and here's Crone.
Right there, you got to make a commitment. You're not going to get the best of jumps, especially with a left-hander on the mound and the count where it was. But you make a commitment once you take off all the way to second base.
Crone lined out to second his first time up and takes the first pitch for ball 1.
There are times when you might get such a late start. You make it halfway, you see that swing and miss. You force a throw and you still have time, but when you're that far out, certainly something just was missing.
There's a pitch taken for a strike, 1-1 on C.J. Crone.
Hector Santiago, the Angels starter, going the first 2 innings. We assume he is done for the day. Matt Shoemaker will pitch today for the Angels. There's a liner in the right field. That's a fair ball. It's going to roll all the way out near the warning track. Just getting to it is the right fielder Parker, and easily coasting into second with a 2-out opposite field double is C.J. Cron.
We see that a lot from C.J. Cron in preseason, using the whole field. Mike Scioscia uses him as a great option sometimes on the hit and runs. Did it 3 times last spring. And keeping him on the ball, and boy, swings like this will only make him a more productive and more consistent big league hitter during the regular season. Beautiful swing.
Carlos Perez, the batter, he doubled down the left field side his first time up. Cron has a good-sized lead at second, and the first pitch, checking the swing, is Perez. They say he went around on the appeal. 0-1 the count.
That was a pretty good breaker there by Lana. Down to the zone. Hitter sitting on that fastball. Got him committed early.
Jeffrey Marte would be up next. Here's the next pitch. That's grounded on the right side, backhanded by the second baseman Panic. His throw right on the money, and that's how the inning will end. Angels had a 2-out double that failed to score. We are headed to the bottom of the 3rd in Scottsdale. Halos have a 1-0 lead. You're listening to the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West.
Giants and Anaheim third baseman, number 21, Connor Gillespie.
Bottom of the 3rd here in Scottsdale. It's 1-0 Angels. Fans, Experian. Let's get serious about your credit. Go to Experian.com today. So Matt Shoemaker will replace Hector Santiago. That according to plan. And Hector ends up going 2 innings. He allowed 1 hit. Retired 6 of 7 batters, couple of strikeouts, no runs allowed, and no walks. Matt Shoemaker also expected to go 2 innings today, around 30 pitches. Here's his first one with the right side infield shift, and Connor Gillespie, a left-handed batter, takes ball 1. It's 1 ball, no strikes. Shoemaker certainly in the mix for a spot in the Angels starting rotation, but hoping to bounce back from a year ago. And there's a ball that is absolutely crushed to right field, and that one is gone. No doubter right there. Connor Gillespie, Reed Shoemaker, his teammate for part of last season, with a leadoff homer. It's a 1-1 ball game.
There you go. Makes the error and makes his former team pay immediately. That's a perfect swing there by Connor Gillespie. does a fine job staying on the ball. Usually a good hitter spreading the ball around.
Home run ball was a problem of sorts for Shoemaker a year ago. And here is Hernandez batting. A pitch in there for a called strike. He's batting for the first time today, the Giants center fielder this afternoon. Right-handed hitter. Played briefly for the Pirates last year. Was in AAA in the Pirates system most of last year. And he takes that one inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Gorkys Hernandez. First name spelled Gorkys.
And I have never met a Gorkys. It was the first one.
I can say the same, Jose. We're in the same boat on that one. 1-2 the count. So a 1-1 ball game here in Scottsdale, bottom of the 3rd inning. Shoemaker's next pitch, and that's a little bit low. Shoemaker fastball, top out around 94, slider curve. His big pitch is the split finger fastball, the splitter. And he had some trouble with that pitch a year ago. Here's a little pop in a shallow right center. That's going to fall in. So a 2-strike hit for Hernandez the opposite way. Back-to-back hits given up by Shoemaker, and the leadoff man Tomlinson will be the next batter.
For Matt Shoemaker, it's a matter of regaining that confidence. See a bit of the Matt Shoemaker we saw back in 2014, whom Mike Scioscia said clearly towards the end of that season, he came in here and saved our season. That's how good he was. But last year faced many challenges, and the biggest challenge for anybody with the type of success he had the previous season is the league gets to know more about you. How will you adjust to the league?
Here's the pitch, and that one misses. Snap throw to first base, and diving back to the bag goes Hernandez. Kelby Tomlinson, the batter. Flied out to right his first time up.
Have you met another Kelby?
I've met a Colby, but not a Kelby.
Yeah.
2
for 2.
Yeah. Quick toss over to first, and stumbling but getting back is Hernandez.
Shoemaker's got the quick feed, and I think the combination of Carlos Perez behind the plate, who is so familiar with these pitchers, and Mike Scioscia's tutoring, knowing the league, is certainly a plus for anybody on that mound, and part of that battery between catcher and pitcher right now, knowing what Perez brings. As you already saw, he loves to throw behind the runners.
So Shoemaker ready to work here against Tomlinson. He's hit to throw him a pitch. Here's the first one, and this is lifted in the air into right center field, but it's hanging up. Gentry is playing in center. He'll make the grab. Easy play. That's the first out. Joe Panik will be the next batter. Well, while we have a chance, time for the out-of-town scoreboard, and it's being brought to you by Jeep Cherokee. With an estimated 31 miles per gallon highway, it's the perfect vehicle. Visit Jeep.com for more information. And around the Florida Grapefruit League, 8th inning, Braves lead the Orioles 10-4. Chris Davis, who signed that big contract to stay with Baltimore, has hit a home run for the Orioles.
Paying off already.
The Yankees have an 8-7 lead against the Tigers. Split squad team in the 9th inning. There goes the runner. Pitch low. Throw to second. And safe.
Oh, Donnie thought he got him. Donnie thought he got him. Boy, he might have gotten him in the back foot.
Yeah. Well, and we've talked to Mike Scioscia about it in these exhibition games, whether it's in Arizona or in Florida. We were just talking about the Grapefruit League. There is no instant replay in these games, so no challenges, and the initial call will be the only call unless you can get a umpire to change it after he might ask for some help from one of his fellow umpires. But the help will not come from any type of replay for the exhibition games.
The trial period is over.
Here's a bouncer hit on the right side. It's going to be an easy play for Giavotella. He will throw out Panik, and on the play, Hernandez will move to third. So they have a 2-out base runner there, and Brandon Belt will be the next batter.
I like the way when it was implemented, Terry, with the replays and challenges, how we were made aware of, first of all, the rules and the timings, and also the umpires rotating. Remember, the umpires here in camp had an additional truck that they would have another member of their crew sit in for a couple of innings, and they would rotate through that from the bases out to the truck just to get used to the replay and all the things that were coming in as managers had the freedom to go out there and challenge during spring training.
Here's the pitch, and that one is low and inside on Belt. Other games in the Florida Grapefruit League. Tigers split squad, leading the Pirates 5-1 in the 8th inning. And in that ball game, Jim Harbaugh, former 49ers coach, now the coach at the University of Michigan, he's been coaching first base for the Detroit Tigers. And the Michigan football team, and you heard me right, they're at that game in Florida because they're actually having their spring football drills in the state of Florida. They've taken them off campus this spring.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Well, we saw Jim Harbaugh do the same thing here in the Cactus League a couple of years ago with the Oakland A's, coaching first base.
There's a pitch that's tying away, and the count 1-1 strike. And the rest of the Grapefruit League right now, 8th inning, Twins lead the Red Sox 6-1. Nationals lead Tampa Bay 6-2 in the 9th. Phillies and Toronto 4-4 in the 9th inning. Counts 2 balls and 1 strike. 1-1 game, bottom of the 3rd, and the pitch, that's low.
Well, the shift has been put in against Belt here for a second time. Difference is now the third baseman, Marte, is not going to totally give away all that freedom to the runner at third base, even though he can get a bigger lead than he has right now.
Here's the 3-1 delivery, and that is low, ball 4. So Shoemaker struggling a bit here in his first inning. He's given up a homer, a single, now a walk. He's got a couple outs in the inning. And the batter with 2 away and 2 on will be the cleanup batter. And this is George Kataris, who's batting out a Buster Posey spot. Let's pause for station identification. This is the Angels Baseball Radio Network. First pitch on Kataris, batting left-handed. He takes it for a called strike. George Kataris, veteran player, trying to win a spot on the Giants roster this spring. Outside shot of doing that. Shoemaker's next delivery, and that one is outside, so the count even. It's 1-1 strike.
There were times last year where Mike Scioscia truly explained to me at times he needed Matt Shoemaker to be just a little bit less on that pedal, meaning that 92 they got flat. He wanted to be less and be a little 89 with some more movement. Here's one that calls for that type of pitch down in the zone.
Here's the next delivery, and that one is cut on and missed. So the count on Kataris, 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs, runners at the corners. A 1-1 game, bottom of the 3rd inning.
So here's the irony. Last year, Shoemaker goes 7-10. His ERA jumps to 4.46. He had more quality starts last year than when he went 16-4 his rookie season. Figure that out.
Yeah, it's hard to believe.
Huh? He had 12 quality starts last year. He had 11 when he went 16-4.
1-2 delivery, and he gets him to wave at that one. He struck him out, chased the splitter, it looked like, and that'll end the inning. So Shoemaker minimizes damage. They get a run in the inning. We've completed 3 here in Scottsdale. We're tied at 1. You're listening to the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. So we go to the fourth inning in a 1-1 ball game here in Scottsdale. There's a new pitcher for the Giants. Their third this afternoon. Clayton Blackburn is his name. He's a right-hander. First pitch on Marte of the Angels, and it's taken for a called strike. Blackburn replaces Lara, who worked an inning, giving up a hit, no runs. Struck out a batter, didn't walk any. And Marte batting for the second time today. Takes that one for a called strike. Grounded out his first time up. 0-2 the count.
Jeffrey Marte has shown tremendous power to the right side in the early going here in spring training.
Here's the next pitch. Breaking ball. It's bounced softly to short. Fielded there by Tomlinson. His throw is in time, and second time today that Marte has grounded out to the shortstop. One quick out. Craig Gentry will be the next batter. Fans, here's a deal for you. $19.95 gets you Proactive plus a rotating deep cleansing brush. It's valued at $45. You are guaranteed to get clear and stay clear, and you'll get your money back. Call 1-800-644-5944. That's 1-800-644-5944. First pitch on Gentry taken for ball one. It's 1 ball, no strikes. Here's the next pitch. That's bounced off the pitcher. Ball ricochets over to Gillespie, who throws out Gentry. And now Blackburn kind of walking it off over there. They're going to take a look at him. That was a low line shot back to the pitcher.
Certainly got him pretty good, and it bounced right to where Gillespie was playing. And of course, it helps that Gillespie was guarding against the bunt against the speedster Craig Gentry. And he happened to be playing in exactly where that ball went out there and ricocheted to him.
So 2 are gone. Here's Todd Cunningham for the Angels.
That one's going to hurt for a few days here in camp. Glad he's okay.
Pitch on Cunningham, and that one is taken for a strike. Switch hitter. Bats left, and his first time up, he had a good at bat. A walk, so a lot of pitches, and really worked hard to get that one against Samardzija, their starter. Here's the 0-1, and that's low and inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Todd Cunningham grew up in Alabama, and when he was growing up, he would see a lot of the Atlanta Braves games on television, and he followed the Braves. They were his childhood favorite team, and he was a big Chipper Jones fan growing up.
Chipper is back with the Braves, more active as an assistant.
Here's the next pitch, and that one is taken again by Cunningham. So he's showing a good eye here. He's in front, 3 balls, 1 strike.
There's a value to guys that can go out there and give you a deep at bat, quality at bat, get some pitches out of the guy on the mound.
Here's the 3-1 delivery, and boy, that is a called strike. Looked a little bit high, maybe even outside, but it's a full count, 3-2. Cunningham, 26 years old, working another full count. Payoff pitch. He fouls that one off on the third base side. Stays alive. Still 3 balls, 2 strikes. Beautiful day for baseball, and really the weather has been just terrific so far for spring training, for all the workout days since the pitchers and catchers reported, and then the position players, and now the start of the exhibition schedule. Payoff again, and that one nipped the inside corner. Struck him out looking, and the inning is over. So the Angels go down 1-2-3. We are headed now to the bottom of the 4th. It's a 1-1 ball game. You're listening to the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Matt Shoemaker getting set for his second inning of relief. He was touched for a run last inning, gave up a leadoff home run, and his first pitch here to start off the bottom of the fourth. That one's taken by Jared Parker for a strike. It's 0-1. It's a 1-1 game. Angels and the Giants here in Scottsdale, Arizona. Angels have a bit of a shift on in the infield. Next pitch on Parker. Big cut, fouls that one back. Fans, MLB.TV Premium. Everything you have come to expect and more. New low price for 2016. Watch every out-of-market game of all 30 teams live in true HD on over 400 supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. And the next pitch on Parker, that's a ball. 1-2 the count. Parker, a left-handed batter. Crawford, another lefty swinger waiting on deck. Here's the pitch, and that one is waved at and missed. Ball dropped by Perez, picks it up, fires the first, a little bit low, but it's handled over there at first base, and that'll be a strikeout. So Parker down on strikes for the second time today. A pair of strikeouts now in the game for Matt Shoemaker, and here is Brandon Crawford.
There's a confidence you need to have in your catcher, and the confidence his catcher, Perez, needs to have in his pitcher. Bounce it. Let me go out there and block it for you. Good job on finishing off the previous inning on Gutierrez. That pitch down to the zone, and the same thing here for Parker leading off the fourth.
So here's Brandon Crawford digging in. Left-handed batter goes after the pitch and lifts a fly ball to left field. Backpedaling is Ortega. He's under. He'll squeeze it. And that's the second out.
Well, Terry, as we see that ball in left field, we have to, of course, understand that there's a fight in left field going on as to who's going to play there. Is it going to be a platoon? The Angels acquired some players that they think are going to be able to fulfill that role. And Daniel Nava is one of them, and Craig Gentry could be the other piece.
Rafael Ortega is out there today. So we'll see how it all shakes out as far as left field. It was kind of a black hole, if you will, for the Angels a year ago. Very limited offensive production out of that spot a year ago.
Just when you thought the answer was going to be Matt Joyce and what we saw here in spring training and what his career had been, it just did not pan out.
Yeah. Mac Williamson at the plate. 1-1 is the count on him. As Shoemaker works with 2 outs, no one on. Ball tapped foul over on the third base side.
We talk about acquisitions, not forgetting how valuable somebody like Albuquerque will be for the Angels, a former Tiger. You can really get that fastball up there. And not here today, but get ready to watch a very special player in Andrelton Simmons.
Yep. There's a pitch fouled off. Well, the Angels will have their Cactus League home opener tomorrow with the Oakland A's invading Tempe Diablo Stadium. And tomorrow it will be Garrett Richards on the mound against Eric Surkamp of the Oakland A's. Here's the pitch. That one is low. It misses for a ball. 2-2 the count.
Angels rotation. A lot of options right now. It looks fairly deep with Santiago, Richards, Weaver, Tropiano. Skaggs will be pushed back a little bit, coming back from the Tommy John surgery.
The pitch a little bit low.
Andrew Heaney, who really came into his own and became almost one of those go-to guys the Angels needed in the second half of the season. He was outstanding. Great acquisition by the Angels and Heaney for Howie Kendrick.
So it's a full count here on Mac Williamson, and the next one from Shoemaker. That's right down the heart of the plate. Struck him out looking, and the inning is over. So that's probably it for Shoemaker. He ends up striking out 3 of the last 4 that he faces. And the side retired 1-2-3. We are headed to the 5th inning here at Scottsdale, tied at 1. You're listening to the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Rafael Ortega leading it off for the Angels. 5th inning. We go on a 1-1 ball game. And the first pitch was in there on him. Next delivery. That breaking pitch missed inside. Ortega, left-handed batter. He's driven in the only Angel run so far today with the sac fly back in the 2nd. The Giants' lone run coming in the bottom of the 3rd on a home run by Connor Gillespie. Here's a pop in the air into left center field. Not deep at all. Camping under, making the grab is Williamson. So Ortega is set down, and that's the first out. Johnny Giavitello will be the next batter. 1-1 to score here in Scottsdale. The score update, it's brought to you by Experian. Get serious about your credit by visiting Experian.com. Clayton Blackburn, who's pitching, is in his 2nd inning, and he has retired 4 straight this afternoon. There's a breaking pitch in there on Giavitello, his 3rd at bat of the day, and he's grounded out a couple of times. Johnny Giavitello, a year ago at this time, Angels were trying to figure out what they had in Giavitello, and he ended up winning the second base job. He fouls that one off on the right side.
And he ended up winning that job the last week of spring training.
Yeah.
Josh Rutledge had the inside edge. And one we thought Grant Green had it. Green now, in fact, with the Giants as a minor leaguer, invited to camp. But Johnny came and just lit spring training on fire with that fire that he plays with, and earned a job, and it was a key piece for the Angels last season.
There's a pitch that he takes, and that one just missed. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Well, there's no doubt he's a gamer.
And yes, he does have and did have some defensive shortcomings, but he is improved. Alfredo Griffin, who is with the Angels, even though he's not coaching first, he is the infield instructor with the Angels, and he says he is a different player. He learned a lot, and hopefully he'll get better.
Chops that one foul on the left side. He worked out hard this past off season, trying to improve defensively out there at second base. So.
It was clear that the Angels were a better team overall when Johnny was playing. There's no doubt. And yes, I'll say it again, he did have some shortcomings defensively. He came with that in Kansas City, but the guy works hard, and I expect him to improve even more.
That one's fouled off by Giavitello, who's battling against Blackburn. The count holding 1 ball, 2 strikes. We're in the 5th inning. It's a 1-1 game. Angels and Giants here in Scottsdale. Beautiful day in the Valley.
It's supposed to cool off here in the Valley. I mean, this is pretty unusual that it's been so warm in the early first couple of weeks in camp.
Yep. 1-2 pitch. And this is lifted in the air into right field. It's right at the right fielder, Parker, and he puts it away. Well, one thing about Giavitello, and we certainly saw it there in that at-bat, in the final swing of the at-bat, he is a high ball hitter, and he went after a high pitch right there and hits a routine fly ball to right for the second out.
He is, and Johnny knows one thing about his game that really allowed him to go out there and carry a .272 average last year in the regular leagues. He stays away from those fly balls. Boy, much different hitter. And Terry, as we were talking about the rotation, not forget about C.J. Wilson, who had a setback here in spring training with his shoulder, had an MRI. But C.J. and his wife Liz welcome baby Valentina to the world. So congratulations to C.J. Wilson and his family with baby girl.
Yep, C.J. had gone back to Southern California. Should be rejoining the Angels in the next day or so. 2 strikes the count here on Pennington, and he fouls that one back. Pennington hit only .210 last season, and he was with the D-backs and Toronto, and he played in the postseason last year with the Toronto Blue Jays, and he ended up pitching in a postseason game.
That's hard to believe, bro.
He did. There's a pitch that's low. Why did that happen? Well, it was a game that was one-sided, and John Gibbons, the Toronto manager, decided he didn't want to use any of his other pitchers, and Pennington saw action. Here he drills the ball back to the pitcher. The second time Blackburn's been hit. This one ricochets off his body over to Gillespie, who has no throw. And Blackburn is down, and they'll check him out. I think he's going to be okay to stay in, but been like target practice back to the mound. That'll be a 2-out infield hit.
Blackburn has become the bullseye out there in the middle of the diamond.
Yeah. So Pennington gets his first hit of the day, and for the Angels, that's hit number 4. And Bruce Bochy is going to make a pitching change here. Blackburn is loosening up. I don't think he wants to leave, but they're going to make a pitching change. So we have a break in the action. A new pitcher coming in. Blackburn, who leaves, appears to be okay, but they'll just bring in their 4th pitcher of the day. We're tied at 1. Pitching change coming up on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Giants' new pitcher is right-hander Mike Broadway, and he pitched for them a bit last season. 21 games, had an 0-2 record, ERA of 5.19. So the first batter he will face will be G-Man Choi for the Angels. When he steps up, there will be 2 outs and Pennington on at first base.
Terry, these Giants figured to be also an improved ball club. They went out and signed an Art Span as a free agent outfielder. Of course, Samardzija, whom we saw a couple innings from today. But Johnny Cueto, style man, flashy Johnny Cueto, who earned a World Series ring with the Kansas City Royals, is in town.
Giants a year ago finished 84-78. They were in second place in the NL West. Did not get into the postseason, though. They were 8 games behind the Dodgers, who won the West in the National League a year ago. In fact, the Giants have had the same record the past 2 years, 84-78. World Series champions, though, 3 of the last 6 seasons, and the years they've won the World Series, they've been years that have been ending in even numbers. So here we are in 2016. That's what you hear all the Giants fans saying nowadays. It's our year in 2016. We do good in the even numbered years.
They've had continuity. Is still one of the best scouting departments, and great baseball people, great baseball minds. Combining that with the new age statistics, but also you can't beat Brian Sabian, what he's done in his career in baseball, the people he surrounded himself with. And Bruce Bochy, that relationship, Terry, that pipeline that's just steady, consistent, the way minor leaguers are prepared when they come up to the big leagues, and the way the superstars are a huge part of it, but not all the pressure is on them. But certainly they've done a great job in developing and just keeping that tradition and consistency with the Giants for so many years.
They've given Broadway extra warm-up tosses because technically he's come in to replace an injured pitcher, although we can assure you Blackburn is okay. But now Broadway is ready to go. You mentioned Bruce Bochy, of course, the Giants' longtime manager. And he and Mike Scioscia right now rank 1 and 2. Bochy number 1, Scioscia number 2 as far as active managers with the most career managerial victories. A couple of potential Hall of Fame managers squaring off here today.
They have rings, even though Bochy's got a few over Scioscia.
Yeah. There's a pitch cut on and missed by Choi. And the count 0-1. Choi is 1 for 2 today, a single and a strikeout.
You talk about feel-good stories around baseball. Mike Broadway had to wait 11 seasons to reach the major leagues. How about that?
Yep.
For perseverance.
Yep, absolutely.
11 seasons.
There's the pitch that's outside and low.
When he finally made his debut last June. Originally signed in 2005. That is absolutely remarkable. Native of Paducah, Kentucky.
1 ball, 1 strike to count on the South Korean. There goes the runner and the pitch. That one is low. Throw down to second, and that throw is late. So that's going to be a stolen base for Cliff Pennington. Pennington was out trying to steal earlier today. Now has a stolen base at second. He's in scoring position with 2 outs in the count, 1-2 on Choi.
And quite sure Pennington heard from third base coach Ron Renicky, who was one of the best in the game in incorporating, giving you confidence and creating awareness on stealing bases, getting jumps, and using your instincts. Before, he was tentative, stopped between first and second, got thrown out, but now went for it immediately and made it.
So a hit could mean a run with 2 outs. Here's the next pitch, and that's waved at and missed, and Choi is down on strikes, and that's how the inning will end. Angels leave a runner in scoring position and fail to get anything home here in the 5th. We're going to the bottom of the 5th inning. We're still tied at 1 in Scottsdale on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Rip. Bottom of the 5th here in Scottsdale, a 1-1 ball game. Angels will go to the bullpen, and they will be bringing in Greg Malley, a Southern California native. Saw him a little bit in spring training with the Angels last year. He has a brother who's a pitcher in the Reds organization, Tyler Malley, and Greg Malley, who pitched at Inland Empire in Arkansas, will get ready to work for the Angels. Went to UC Santa Barbara. Left-hander in Jose. He's a guy who gives you a whole lot of different arm angles. You never really know where the ball's coming from him, and he's going to have a chance here to match up against a left-handed batter. His first batter he'll face in Connor Gillespie.
And because of those arm angles you're talking about, is talking to opposing hitters last spring, is they say, well, the ball gets on you pretty quickly. We may not light up the radar gun, but yeah, it does get on you.
And the first pitch, that one is in there for a strike. Malley did some closing last year in the Angels minor league system and had 26 saves. He's a guy who's tough against left-handed hitters, and it's tough to elevate the ball against him. He gave up only 2 home runs last year in 52 appearances, and here's a ground ball hit on the right side. It's fielded by Giavitella, and he will throw to Crone, and an easy out is Gillespie. So 4-3 on the ground out. 1 gone, and Gorkys Hernandez, the 9-hole hitter, will be the next batter for San Francisco.
This is one of the aspects where the game has changed because of the shifting, and now you as a first baseman have to be so aware pitch by pitch where your second baseman is, where your shortstop is. In fact, sometimes your third baseman is switched over to play in short right field on some shifts, and that's a good job there by Crone, letting Malley know that he had the bag. Got there pretty fast.
Pitch in there for a strike. Malley went to Westminster High School, where he played both baseball and football. 6'2", about 230 pounds. Here's the next pitch, and that's cut on by Hernandez, fouled back behind the plate.
Oh, Malley himself has a good chance to get a long look here in camp, considering the Angels, in terms of left-handed reliever, have a very reliable one in Jose Alvarez, who really came into his own last season. What a terrific job that kid did.
Next pitch, fouled off on the right side by Hernandez, who hangs in there with 2 strikes. Today's game, it is being brought to you by In-N-Out Burger. That's what a hamburger's all about. So 0-2 on Hernandez. Next pitch, and boy, that one dusts him off the plate right there, up and in with that fastball. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And that's against a right-handed batter. So I was talking about the many different angles, and that ball and that quick release and flick of the wrist gets on you very quickly. And even from that side, Hernandez couldn't pick it up on time.
Malley's next delivery, checking the swing on that one, is Hernandez. He went around, struck him out. A couple of quick outs, 2 gone here in the bottom of the 5th. The leadoff man, Kelby Tomlinson, getting ready for his 3rd at bat in today's ball game. Fans, if your computer is running slow, go to mycleanpc.com and get a free computer diagnosis. In minutes, you can activate MyCleanPC software to clean out the junk that may be slowing down your computer. Visit mycleanpc.com. Pitch on Tomlinson, right in there for a called strike.
Rotation-wise, the Angels will see Garrett Richards take the mound tomorrow. He'll be followed by Jared Weaver. Mike Scioscia then says we shall see Andrew Heaney, Nick Tropeano, eventually Tyler Skaggs. So, Terry, the depth, if you consider Richards, Weaver, Santiago, Shoemaker, Heaney, Tropeano, Wilson, Skaggs, it's something that many teams wish they could have in terms of depth.
Yep. There's a pitch a little bit low. And also, you mentioned C.J. Wilson. C.J.'s a little bit behind because of some left shoulder tendonitis. So, Angels taking it slowly with him. And, of course, we mentioned his wife had the little baby the other day. He's been back in Southern California as well. Here's a little blooper into right center. It's going to drop in between Cunningham and Gentry, and that'll be a 2-out hit for Tomlinson, his first hit of the day. So the Giants have a base runner for Joe Panik. You would think with guys like Panik and Belt and Crawford still in the lineup, maybe after 3 at-bats they all might be done for the day. We'll see.
Which probably means they will not be playing tomorrow.
Yep. Giants will take on Milwaukee here in Scottsdale tomorrow. First pitch, pitch for a strike against Panik. Angels have used Santiago, Shoemaker, and now Molly. And there's the next pitch. That's in there for a strike, so he's jumped in front on Panic, who's struck out and grounded out. The count, no balls, 2 strikes. The Angels bat in the 6th inning. Crone, Perez, and Marte are slated to go. Valley's next pitch, runner goes, and it's fouled off over on the third base side.
And the way you structure baseball rotations nowadays really varies. I mean, it's a different game. You don't see guys. You don't see 5 guys going out there making 33, 34, 35 starts. The Angels used 9 different starters last season. The Houston Astros used 13 different starters. And the average, Terry, around baseball, 8.5 starters per team were utilized. That's why depth takes a new value.
Here's the next pitch, and this is a fly ball lifted into left center, not deep at all. Gentry was going to call. Now it'll be Ortega who calls him off. Catch made by the left fielder, and the inning is over. Nice inning for Malley. He sets down 3 of 4. We've completed 5 in Scottsdale. It's still anyone's game. We're tied at 1 on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. We go to the 6th inning in a 1-1 game. Angels and San Francisco Giants. Mike Broadway, the pitcher for the Giants, is still there, but Jose, it looks like just about everyone else is new, so we'll pick up all the changes.
We'll do our best.
Yep. The batter is C.J. Crone, and he takes the first pitch for a strike. The count 0-1.
But always good to see the youngsters get an opportunity here early in spring training when those regulars are just getting their feet wet with a couple of innings here and there. It's time for those young players to shine.
There's a pitch that is missed. This is the time of the Cactus League game where D.C. really goes to work for us.
Darren Chan, yes.
Yes.
In fact, he's not here right now because he's running around.
He's trying to get all the changes for us. Giants making wholesale changes. And the pitch grounded right to the shortstop, handled on an easy hop. And the throw to first base is in time. So Crone is retired.
Going back to the terrific story that Michael Broadway was right-hander, 6'5", 215 pounds, as I had mentioned earlier. 11 seasons in the minors before he got a chance to get to the big leagues, and that was last year. Terry, it took him just 5 years to get out of A-ball.
Wow. Yep.
Between rookie, short A, and A, 5 seasons.
There's a pitch a little bit low.
originally signed by the Braves, a fourth-rounder back in 2005.
Carlos Perez at the plate for the Angels. Double. He scored the only Angel run. He's 1 for 2, and he takes that one outside. So the count, 1 ball, no strikes.
Broadway has also been part of the San Diego Padres and the Washington Nationals organizations.
Here's the next one, and that is right in there for a called strike. Outfield not too deep. And they're playing straight away against Carlos, who drills one, and it's caught by the second baseman. Boy, when that left the bat, it looked like it had a chance to drop into right center, but the catch made, and that'll be the second out.
Tell you what, Carlos, anything he can add on the offensive side is a tremendous plus to the bottom of the lineup. But Terry, he has been spending a lot of time with new pitching coach Charles Nagy, who comes back to the Angels. And also Buddy Black is around as a special advisor to baseball operations. So it is important for them to spend time not just with a pitcher but with their young catcher. And their veteran catcher too. Another addition for the Angels, Giovanni Soto.
Angels are going to pinch hit Kyle Kubica here, so he will bat for Marte and most likely replace him at third base as well. And he takes the pitch for a ball, left-handed batter. So around the infield for the Giants, the new first baseman for them, that is Trevor Brown, new second baseman who made that nice catch on the ball hit by Perez. That's Ramiro Pena. Hak-Ju Lee is the shortstop, and Christian Arroyo is the new third baseman. And they've also changed some things up at a couple of spots in the outfield. Junior Arias is the new center fielder. Ryan Wallace is the new right fielder, and it looks like they have a new left fielder as well, and we know him. That's Grant Green out there in left field, former Angel.
Former Trojan.
So a lot of new faces in that lineup now for the Giants. Here's the pitch, and Kubica fouls that one off on the left side.
Well, for Grant Green and for Kyle Kubica, look at the circumstances. Green was finding himself around this time last year as a candidate to play second base every day for the Angels, but he showed the versatility. Things didn't go well. Did not go well for Josh Rutledge. Johnny G snuck in, became the everyday second baseman. And then Kyle Kubica was brought in for the Braves organization. And he was a guy that the Angels saw, perhaps, with the previous administration to be taken over in the departure of David Freese. And things did not work out that way. They just went out and acquired a solid player, another solid acquisition, in Yunel Escobar. One of the best hitters in the National League last year.
Here's the pitch, and Kubica takes that one low and inside. We saw Kubica for brief periods of time in an Angel uniform last season. He hit just 194 in 19 games, and you kind of wonder where he's at right now in the Angel system.
Right.
Be easy to assume that maybe his stock has dropped a little bit, but if that is the case, and we're not saying it necessarily is, but if it is the case, he can change some thinking if he has a good spring. But right here, he takes a called third strike, and that's how the inning will end. Strong inning for Broadway, sits down the Angels 1-2-3. So we're headed to the bottom of the sixth here, and we're in Scottsdale, where it's still 1-1 Angels and Giants on the Angels Baseball Radio Network. Giants made a lot of changes in the top of the 6th inning, and the Angels do the same in the bottom of the 6th. From a defensive standpoint, we'll run them all down for you. First batter up for San Francisco here will be Trevor Brown. He's hitting out of Brandon Belt's spot, and he took over for him at first base as well. Belt went 0 for 1. And Brown is the batter. The new Angels pitcher is Cam Bedrosian. Angels have a new first baseman. He was in the game as the DH G-Man Choi. He's now at first base. C.J. Cron has left the game.
Mike Scioscia up to his old tricks here. Here we go.
Angels have Kyle Kubica at third base. Here's the pitch, and there's a line shot in the left center field. That's going to be a base hit. Low liner off the bat of Brown. So first batter Bedrosian faces, gets a single. George Gataris is the next batter. Craig Malley, who pitched last inning for the Angels, gave up a hit, no runs. And he did not walk, and he struck out one. Bedrosian is pitcher number 4 of the day for the Angels.
And Bedrosian will have to have a spot in the batting lineup now that the designator Choi comes into the defensive side.
So here's Gataris batting, and the pitch right in there for a called strike.
He said he's fine. You want to get 2 each? No, I'm good. You sure you don't sell timeshare? They told me the more I sell, the more I'm not.
And there's a pickoff toss, and that one gets away, and moving up to second base and getting there easily is going to be the base runner Trevor Brown. So it's a free base right there for the Giants, and now they have a runner in scoring position with nobody out.
Well, here's once again where we're talking about the mistakes the Angels pitchers need to just minimize and not help the opponent getting closer to home plate. And PFB not only involves catching the ball and turning double plays and being involved in covering first base. It's also playing catch.
There's the pitch, bounced on the left side. Kubica has it, looks the runner back to second, and easily gets the batter at first. So Gataris is retired. Good job by Kyle Kubica on that one. Still a runner at second. 1 out. And Ryan Wallace will be the next batter. The rest of the Angels look around the infield. Ray Navarro is now the new second baseman for the Angels. Johnny Giavotella has left the game. We mentioned Kubica is the third baseman. And the Angels also have a new shortstop in the ball game. And that is a young player, Roberto Baldequin, who is taken over at short. Here's the pitch. That one right in there for a called strike.
A lot of talk about Baldequin last year around this time when he was making his way into the Angels system. A high bonus signee out of Cuba.
Here's the next pitch. That's high. Wallace has the count go. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bedrosian, who's pitching for the Angels. He was up and down with the Angels a year ago. Appeared in 34 games. 1 win, no losses. ERA was 5.40. Good fastball, good slider. He'll throw a changeup. Former first-round pick of the Angels back in 2010, and the next delivery misses high with that one.
And Cam Bedrosian really earned the trust of Mike Scioscia and his teammates. September and a couple of games in October, he was absolutely terrific. And when Mike Scioscia was utilizing every single matchup available and available arm in the expanded rosters, well, Bedrosian became a go-to guy in key situations.
Saw that in the series against Texas at the end of the regular season, and those were some long games and drawn-out games where you were seeing, heck, didn't the Angels pitch JoJo Reyes in one of those games?
JoJo Reyes got a win by retiring one hitter, Prince Fielder.
He hadn't pitched in the big leagues in a few years.
That's
and,
right.
Latos pitched for the Angels down the stretch. Here's a little pop into shallow left field. That one's going to drop in for a base hit. And being waved home and scoring easily from second will be Brown on a little flare in the shallow left field off the bat of Wallace, and the Giants have a 2-1 lead.
And that's one that's going to hurt.
And one that Cam Bedrosian's going to have to remember. Not on the pitch. He made a good pitch in, but just allowing that runner to get to second base on the air.
Back to Bedrosian, the job he did. I mean, Terry, think about this. He threw 8 games in September, but only 6 2/3 innings. So he was bringing him in to get a right-hander out. And combined between September and October in 7 1/3 innings, he struck out 13 batters.
Yeah.
So along with Albuquerque, and Salas, Mike Moore, well, you have Bedrosian as candidates to fight and pitch in that 7th inning.
Here's the pitch, and that one is a little low. Snap throw to first base. Diving back to the bag goes the base runner Lawless, who just had that RBI hit.
I think by now we all understand how inning 8 and inning 9 lines up for the Angels with Joe Smith and Houston Street. And as always, there will be a surprise or two here in spring training.
Next delivery, this is Adrianza batting, and he lifts a fly ball to center field. Camping under and making the grab on that one is Gentry. And that retires A-Ray Adrianza. And that's the second out. Grant Green, the batter, former Angel. He's hitting out of Williamson's spot. He went 0 for 2, their starting left fielder. Here's the pitch on Green, and that one misses for a ball. The count 1 ball, no strikes.
It is unfortunate that things did not work out for Grant Green with the Angels, where he was presented with plenty of opportunities, not only as an everyday second baseman, but also as a super utility guy.
Next pitch, that one misses low. Kind of wonder where he's at in his career right now. The former first-round pick of the A's, Grant Green, can play a lot of positions, but has certainly hit a lot better in the minors than he has at the major league level. Here's the pitch, and that's outside. He takes it for ball 3, a matchup of former teammates from a year ago, both in AAA and with the Angels. Green from Canyon High School in Anaheim Hills and USC. Here's the next pitch to him. He takes that one right down the heart of the plate. It's funny to see Grant Green work a 3-1 count. We didn't see him do a whole lot of that in an Angel uniform. That was one of the knocks against him.
He's out there hacking.
Right, free swinger.
Great trajectory numbers-wise in the minor leagues. He's always had good numbers.
Yeah, sure has. Quick pickoff toss, pretty close play. Diving back to the bag was Lawless.
And you always knew when football season came around with Grant Green, Terry.
Yep.
Because it was all about those Trojans, man. Still is.
Loyal to his school, the pitch. He cuts it that one. So now it's a full count on Green, 3-2.
As certain people are to the Ohio State University.
Yep.
We were talking about Michigan today. Jim Harbaugh.
Coaching some first base for the Detroit Tigers today. In a split squad game.
I understand we have some Michigan fans in our production crew, too.
Full count, 3-2 on Green, 2 outs. Giants on top for the first time today. They've gotten a run here in the 6th. They lead at 2-1. Runner goes. The pitch. That's drilled into center field. That's going to drop in for a hit. They'll easily have runners at the corners. And runners at first and third on that 2-out single by Grant Green. So the inning isn't over. It's the 3rd hit Bedrosian has given up here in this bottom of the 6th.
Grant Green will put the ball in play and hit a lot of line drives. The issue, of course, during the regular season is the inconsistency in spreading the zone, not being able also to drive the ball. A lot of times, the Angels try to get him to be more aggressive and think. gap to gap and sometimes think long ball, but sometimes they have a tendency to just feel for the ball and try to be too careful at the big league level.
Christian Arroyo, the batter. This is his first time up. Here's the pitch to him, and that breaking pitch in there, a slider for a strike. Arroyo taking over at third base. Angels infield back with 2 outs. Here's the next pitch, and that bounces in, and it bounces by Perez, and that's going to score a run. Coming in from third base without a throw will be Lawless, and Green moves up to second. Now it's 3-1 San Francisco. A wild pitch brings in the second run of the inning.
Well, a single, costly error, and now a wild pitch. So between the error and the wild pitch, making it much easier here for the Giants to get on the board. And they're capitalizing on it, playing pretty aware.
So Ken Bedrosian has hurt his own cause here with the error, and now wild pitching and a run. Base hit could mean another run with 2 outs. Here's the pitch, and that is low. So 2 balls and 1 strike.
For Cam Bedrosian, the biggest difference in the latter part of the season is the fact that they readjusted his breaking ball. Instead of a big loopy curveball, they made it a little bit tighter.
Next pitch, it's lifted and hit well into right center field. Long run for Gentry, and Gentry can not make the catch. The ball takes a bounce, hops over the wall for a ground rule double. He gave it as good a shot as he could out there, chasing it all the way out near the warning track, but that one just over his reach, and it bounced over the wall. That will easily get Green in, and it'll be a ground rule RBI double. And now it's a 4-1 San Francisco lead. So Bedrosian, and this was something we saw certainly in his first couple go-arounds with the Angels last year. He's had trouble closing out innings.
Terry, a lot of fat pitches. I mean, he's always been a mid to high 90s fastball, but certainly the youngster has learned in the big leagues. Home plate needs to get a bit or much smaller for you and hitting the corners, and no matter how hard you throw. But going back to his adjustments towards the end of last season is how he was able to just throw a tighter breaking ball, have hitters commit, thinking fastball, respecting that, and singing more swings and misses. His swing and miss ratio really increased the last month or so of the season.
Junior Arias is the batter. This is his first time up today. Took that 0-1 pitch for a strike, so it's quickly 0-2. But 4-1 Giants. They've scored 3 here in the bottom of the 6th. Bedrosian's pitch, and he's high with the fastball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Fans, don't forget the 20-game flex plan offers a variety of game options to choose from, which includes opening night, premium matchups, and popular promotional giveaway nights. Visit angels.com/ticket plans. 1-2, low, good block by Perez, and the count 2 balls, 2 strikes. Let's pause for station identification on the Angels Baseball Radio Network. Terry Smith, Jose Moden, our producer engineer Darren Chan with you. Cactus League opener. The Giants with 3 runs here in the 6th inning snapped the tie, and they lead it 4-1. 2 strikes on the batter. Arias, and the next pitch way up and in.
Terry, after the game, for those of you following us on Fox Sports West, Alex Curry will join us as she'll be hosting Angels Live edition here at Cactus League.
We'll see it down on the field, Jose. Here's the next pitch. This is fouled back just above us and out of play. We haven't gotten the official attendance here today, but it looks like sellout territory. Nice crowd for the Giants' first home spring training game.
And continues to be one of the best venues here in spring training. little more on the traditional side, even though there are some beautiful sights to be seen now, especially with talking sticks. You talk about what the Cubs did in Mesa with their new facility.
There's a check swing. It's fouled back to the seats on the right side.
Yeah, you can get pretty spoiled here going to some of the spring training bases here, and thinking you might be seeing some better situations, even for the players, than what they see in the regular season.
Well, certainly the city of Scottsdale is one of the destination points here in the Phoenix area. Here's the 2-2. Swing and a miss. Got him on a slider. Struck him out, and that's how the inning will end. But Bedrosian has to face 7 batters in the inning, and they scored 3 in the inning. We've completed 6. We're headed to the 7th. San Francisco leads at 4-1 on.
Leading off, top of the 7th inning for the Angels. Number 20.
7th inning we go. Angels down 4-1. New pitcher for the Giants is Javier Lopez. Looks like they have a new catcher. We'll pick him up in just a moment. And the Angels have Ray Navarro batting, in the pitch in there for a strike. Fans, don't forget, host a business function or celebrate a special occasion in your own private suite at the Big A. Suite rentals offer all-inclusive food and beverage packages. Visit angels.com/suites. Here's a grounder hit on the right side. It's right at Pena, and the second baseman will throw out Navarro, who's batting for the first time today. That's the first out.
Yes, Terry, the changes are here. So
this is Roberto Baldacchini.
That's why we have the silence, trying to figure out who's where.
Yep, Baldacchini will bat for the first time today. He's hitting out a Cunningham spot, and the right-handed batter cuts and misses that one for strike one. Baldacchini was in the States playing baseball for the very first year last year, and it was an up-and-down debut for him in the Angels system. There's a pitch that's on the outside part of the plate, a little bit low. Baldacchini hit .235 last year at Inland Empire, just 1 homer in 77 games. Cuban native.
The encouraging thing was how much he improved from one half to the next, because he seemed, according to some teammates and members of the staff, like he was absolutely lost the first half of the season. Besides the time lost with the injuries and adapting to a new system, city, culture, everything.
Just learning the English language, certainly very challenging for him, which is understandable. There's a pitch that's inside. But last year in 289 at-bats, he had 9 walks. Just 9.
It's almost an indication of they gave me all this money. They have put my name out there. I have to prove to people that I can go out there and get it done.
Well, so
and it does happen a lot with young players.
And he cuts it that 1-2 pitch and misses it. Struck him out. So Baldacchini is retired. Well, Lopez, a big piece of the Giants bullpen, and he's been a big piece in their bullpen for a long time.
This guy is outstanding, Terry. He found that niche years ago, sticks with it, and goes out there and gets the job done year after year now after 10-plus seasons in the big leagues.
A year ago, we'll get to it after the pitch, and this one is lifted in the air, hit well in the right field, backpedaling though under, making the grab a few feet from the rim of the track is Wallace, and that will retire Ortega, and the Angels go down quickly and quietly here in the top of the 7th. So it's 7th inning stretch time. We go to the bottom of the 7th here in Scottsdale. 4-1 San Francisco on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. We go to the bottom of the 7th. Angels have a new battery. We'll pick that up in just a moment. Time now, though, to check out the out-of-town scoreboard. It's brought to you by Jeep Cherokee with an estimated 31 miles per gallon highway. It's the perfect choice. Visit Jeep.com for details. Down the Cactus League, 8th inning. Indians have a 4-3 lead against the Reds. 8th inning, Texas leads Kansas City 3-1. 6th inning, D-backs up on the Rockies 3-2. And in the 7th inning, Mariners blanking the Padres 7-0. Chris Iannetta, Seattle catcher, with a home run in that ball game. So the Angels have a new right fielder, and that's Chad Hinshaw. And there's also a new pitcher. And on the mound for the Angels is Rob Rasmussen, and the new catcher, first-round pick a year ago, Taylor Ward. There's a pitch in there for a called strike on Hak-Ju Lee, batting from the left side.
Yeah, many people, including us, looking forward to seeing this young man in action behind the plate, Taylor Ward. What a nice debut season in professional baseball.
There's a pitch a little bit low. Already you're starting to hear some Taylor Ward, Jeff Mathis comparisons.
Hopefully from the defensive side.
A little more offense.
Okay.
Both former first-round picks. There's a pitch cut on a miss. Both very solid defensively, and you're right. You would hope that maybe if Ward, as he gets his feet wet, and progresses in his pro career, will turn out to be a little bit better hitter than Jeff Mathis, who's still around. Mathis still playing with the Marlins.
And the reason is because he can catch. Very athletic catcher, smart behind the plate. One of the best guys we've ever run into here in the Angels organization in our run, and Jeff Mathis.
Yep. Last act. Counts 2 balls and 2 strikes on Lee. Here's the next pitch. He loops that one foul on the left side. It's back and out of play. This is his first time up, and he is batting out of the leadoff spot. Giants are up 4-1 on the Angels, bottom of the 7th. Here's the next pitch, and that one is tipped foul right by the plate. Angels also have Nick Buss playing out in center field. Angels lefty is set, and here's the next pitch, and that is right on the outside corner. Beautiful pitch, called third strike, and that's the first out.
For any lefty-lefty matchup you see, how guys pair up. You want to see if you're Mike Scioscia, if you are Charles Nagy, if you are Buddy Black on the pitching side, guys go out there and execute. We have seen now for a couple of weeks in the backfields during those bullpens.
So Rasmussen now faces Ramiro Pena, and he chops one foul right by the plate. The numbers on Bedrosian worked an inning, gave up 4 hits, 3 runs earned, didn't walk any, had a strikeout through a wild pitch, and also had an error. A little bit of everything, not a whole lot of good stuff today for Cam Bedrosian.
Get your feet wet, get it out of the way, and then build from there. Make it all better, Terry.
There's a pitch that's in there for a called strike. Rasmussen, who's pitching now, pitcher number 5 of the day for the Angels. SoCal native from Pasadena. And he bounced around a little bit in the big leagues last year. He was with Toronto and Seattle. Here's the next pitch. Chopped on the left side, a foul ball. Rasmussen is on the Angels' 40-man rosters. No guarantee he's going to be on the opening day roster. Only time will tell. But he's a former UCLA Bruin. He was in 20 games last year between Seattle and Toronto as a reliever. Numbers were not very good, though. 2-1 record, but the ERA was 9.98. There's a pitch that's low. And the count on Pena now, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
There's a lot of quickness there behind the plate by Taylor Ward. And the way he read that sweeping slider coming down and down the right-handed. The pitch, for many reasons, sometimes will disappear from a young catcher.
Here's the lefty's next pitch. It's skied in the air into left field. Quentin Berry is there waiting for it. Under, and he will put it away. So that's the second out. Trevor Brown will be the next batter. Rasmussen, who's working for the Angels, made his major league debut in 2014. Jose, the first batter he ever faced in the big leagues, Big Papi. That's a tough guy to break into the big leagues against.
Yes.
And he got him to ground out. And then took a deep breath after that.
Saying if I can get past Big Papi, perhaps my confidence will grow even more.
1 ball, no strikes here on Brown. 2 outs. And the next pitch lifted in the air in the right center field. That ball's hit well. It's in the gap in right center field. It's going to drop in and bounce all the way out near the wall. Just getting to it is Hinshaw by the time he fires it in. Stopping at second base is Brown. And he is on with a hit, his second already in the last 2 innings. 2-out double.
You mentioned that at bat against Big Papi, and brings me to Jose Alvarez. As you see a nice swing there by Brown going the other way, staying right against that pitch tailing away. But recall, you might remember this at bat. Mike Scioscia had a choice. The Angels were in Boston and Fenway, bringing in Cesar Ramos, who's no longer with the Angels, or the youngster Jose Alvarez in a key situation against Big Papi, bases loaded. Mike Sochi goes to Alvarez, strikes him out, and Jose Alvarez said pretty much that moment told him, there's trust in me, and if I can fool somebody like Big Papi in that situation in Fenway, I know that I can trust that I can pitch in this league. It's one of those moments that can build you or sometimes even destroy you.
It's a pitch that is outside for ball 2. And this is Ramos Garcia at the plate, and he's hitting for Guitarras.
That is now the third batter for the number 4 spot that initially was occupied by Buster Posey, who played a couple of innings, went 1 for 1, and out of there.
Garcia is at the plate. He is a catcher as well, so he'll likely stay in behind the plate. Three balls and no strikes. Rasmussen trying to get the final out here, and the 3-0, that's outside. So the last 2 batters have kept the inning alive. A 2-out double, now a 2-out walk. Wallace will bat. He singled in a run his last time up. Angels will continue the Cactus League with the Cactus League home opener tomorrow. Oakland A's will be in Tempe to take on the Angels. Aaron Richards will be on the mound. Friday, Angels will take on the Cubs in Mesa at Sloan Park. That'll be Jared Weaver. Of course, mentioning the Cubs, the Angels will play the Cubs on opening day at the Big A. Opening day will be an interleague series for the Angels. There's a pitch that's low.
It's always better when it happens at home. Well, you don't have to worry about preparing your pitchers for a 3-game series on the road in the National League to kick off a season like it happened with the Angels a couple years back when the season started against the Reds in Cincinnati.
1 ball, no strikes, the count on the left-handed hitter. Lefty-lefty matchup as Rasmussen delivers. Fly ball into left field. Should be the end of the inning as Berry circles under. Squeezes it, and that's it for San Francisco. They failed to score, although they had a threat. We've completed 7 in Scottsdale. 4-1 Giants on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Fans, don't forget you can become a season seat holder to enjoy exclusive benefits and the same seats all season long at the greatest value at the Big A. Visit Angels.com for more information. New pitcher for the Giants. as Derek Law takes over for Javier Lopez. Lopez retired all 3 batters he faced with a strikeout. And now Law becomes the 6th pitcher of the day for San Francisco. Law is a right-hander. He's ready, and here's the pitch. That one is right in there for a called strike on Quentin Berry.
Another player the Angels know can bring a dimension of speed and a backup role.
There's a pitch that's cut on and missed for a strike. That was one thing, Jose. You look back at last season, and we talked about it a little bit on the Fox Sports West pregame show today. The fact that the Angels went right down to the wire last year, failing to make the playoffs. And one area where I think the Angels miscalculated last season was just the lack of overall speed in the organization. And the Angels didn't have a guy that they could even call up in September when the rosters expanded that might have been able to steal him a base. And one stolen base might win you one game late in the season when everything is amplified.
Change of series.
Right.
Dave Roberts stealing that base with Mariano Rivera on the mound.
Right.
For the Boston Red Sox. What did that do for that series?
There's a pitch that Berry takes for a ball. The
and
Angels,
for how the whole season in baseball changed with that stolen base. And Dave Roberts now, we'd like to congratulate him on being the new Dodgers manager. But one stolen base, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. Here's Berry hitting one sharply, but right to the second baseman, and Pena will throw him out. See Berry running swiftly up the first base side.
And even the year before, remember the Angels had to add Tony Campana, who was very valuable in that role later, but he originally, was a guy that they needed to acquire, bring him from outside to bring that dimension. It's huge.
Yeah. Angels were 28th in baseball last year in stealing bases, 28 out of 30 teams, and it also certainly hurt in September last year when the Angels might have needed a guy or two that they could have brought off the bench to try and steal a base, get in a scoring position, but they just didn't have those type of players in the organization. And that's one thing, just looking at some of the veteran players that Billy Epler signed this offseason. I was impressed because he got some guys who can run, even if they might be in the minors when the season begins. So always a chance to bring a guy up, especially late in the year where he can get you a base. 0-2 pitch, and Buss tries to hold up, went around, and he is a strikeout victim. So his first at bat today ends up in a strikeout. And the next batter will be G-Man Choi, who's gone all the way as either the DH or first baseman.
Yeah, a pretty good pitcher sunk in. The pitcher Law, who really slings those breaking pitches in that fastball. And Terry, consider with speed. Speed never goes into a slump. If you can run and if you can change a game without getting a lot of base hits, a lot of times it's because of the distraction, because you advanced as a base runner, because you stole a base, or because you just happened to run the bases well, and it could be in the first inning just as important as it could be in the ninth inning.
Right.
But there's going to be some times that doesn't matter what team you are, that you're going to hit that drought offensively. And if you're depending on one or two guys, if you're depending on the middle lineup, but you have, guys that you really cannot be moving, you go on station to station, it's a problem. Speed can change that very quickly by piecing some things together. Now that brings Mike Trout, who openly said, again, I need to steal more bases.
Yeah, he said that earlier this spring and
said it also last spring.
Yep. Here's the 1-2 on Choi.
And the one thing that I like that Mike said is, to clarify, nobody's telling me not to steal. It's getting more comfortable with it, starting with the leads. I mean, he came into the league, people didn't know him, and people knew about him, but the instincts were not known of stealing bases. Stole 49 bases just like that.
There's Choi fooled on a high pitch there, very late with the swing through it. Lyons struck him out, chased one out of the zone to end the inning. So Law impressive pair of strikeouts and a ground out against them here in the Angels' 8th inning. Bottom of the 8th is next here in Scottsdale. The Giants are up 4-1 on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Bottom of the 8th we go here in Scottsdale, 4-1 San Francisco. The bottom of the 8th, it's being brought to you today by Rotolo Chevrolet in Fontana. Rotolo Chevrolet is pursuing excellence every day. You can visit them at rotolo.com. That's rotolo.com. Angels will use their 6th pitcher this afternoon. His name is A.J. Ochter, and formerly in the Minnesota Twins organization. He gets ready to work. Tall right-hander delivers, and the first pitch, that one misses outside for a ball to count. 1 ball, no strikes. The DH is at the plate, Adrianza, and the left-handed batter takes that one for ball 2. It's 2 balls, no strikes. Give you the numbers on Rob Rasmussen, who worked last inning for the Angels, in just a moment. And the pitch. It's a breaking ball low. And the count goes to 3 balls and no strikes. Infield playing it back. Outfield playing the batter to pull a little bit. That pitch is taken for a strike. Ochter was in 11 games for the Twins a year ago. All as a reliever. No wins, 1 loss. ERA was 6.75. Fastball, 92. He'll top out. Curve and changeup. Usually a guy around the plate. Got the count full now on Adrianza.
Always a plus when you have relievers that have efficiency, high rate of efficiency against the first batter, and guys that come in and throw strikes.
Here's the next delivery. It's lifted into right, and right there waiting, crouching down to make the catch is Chad Hinshaw, the Angels right fielder. So that's the first out.
You can never have enough arms all throughout a season. We'll see so many guys come up, get sent down. Terry, a couple of years ago, who would have thought that a guy like Yoslan Herrera was going to be pitching for the Angels?
Oh, really? Yeah.
Huh? He made a couple of appearances in spring training, not even as an invitee. Just the filling guy. Before you know it, he's pitching in big games for the Angels in the regular season.
Yeah.
That's how baseball is, man. You see this roster here in spring training with 60-plus players. And many players might feel like, I'm just here to fill in, and others are saying, you know what, no matter what, I'm here to make an impression. But very clearly, general managers will tell everybody in camp in that uniform, at some point, we will need every single one of you. Be ready. It's up to you.
Grant Green just fouled one off for the Giants. He's in the hole 0-2. Angels kind of have a pitcher like that. You alluded to, like surprise guys who all of a sudden surface and before you know it are in the big leagues. Here's one chopped right to short. Bobbled slightly by Baldoquin. His throw is in time, though, to get Green. And that's the second out. Arroyo will be the next batter.
Nice job picking that baseball up, staying right with it there by Roberto Baldoquin, who's put on a few pounds, a little more muscular this season.
How about Yunieski Maya?
Great acquisition.
Angels camp.
I love Yunieski Maya. One-time highly rated Washington National.
Oh, yeah.
Signing out of Cuba.
Yep. There's the pitch. It's low. And a guy the Angels signed, he hasn't pitched in the big leagues since 2013. And he was actually pitching in South Korea last year where he threw a no-hitter. And he's in Angels camp. I'm sure we'll see him in one of these Cactus League games before you know it.
He's become one of those guys, just give me the baseball. What do you need from me? Start back-to-back days, give it to me. Face a righty, face a lefty, 3 innings, 1 batter, whatever it is. That's what they call him. El Guerrero Maya. The Mayan warrior.
Wow, that's good to know.
Had a terrific season back with Licey in the Dominican Republic. In fact, he was a teammate of Kyle Kubica and of former Angel Taylor Featherston.
Here's the 1-2 pitch, and there's a swing and a miss by Arroyo, and down on strikes goes the third baseman for the Giants, and that'll end the inning. Solid inning for AT. Retires 3 in a row. So the Angels will have one more shot against San Francisco today in the Cactus League opener, trailing 4-1 as we head to the ninth on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Ninth inning here in Scottsdale. Angels have 3 more outs to try and put together a rally here. George Cantos is the new pitcher for the Giants, mainstay in their bullpen, and he will become pitcher number 7 of the day. Replaces Derek Law, who had a 1-2-3 inning with 2 strikeouts against the Angels. So the first batter is going to be Alex Yarbrough, who is going to bat for the first time today. And the first pitch, that one's in there on the left-handed batter for a strike. Cantos, right-hander. 73 appearances last year for the Giants. Here's a ground ball hit right to second. Should be an easy play for Pena, and he will throw out Yarbrough. 1 gone. Angels have not had a hit since the 5th inning and have had only 4 hits today.
Right fielder, number 69, Chad Hinshaw.
The last 11 have been retired in a row. So a quiet day offensively for the Halos here in the Cactus League opener. Chad Hinshaw will bat, his first time up today. And the pitch, Hinshaw takes it for a strike. Hinshaw, right-handed batter. And here's the pitch. Cut and a miss. So he's quickly in the hole. It's no balls and 2 strikes. Cantos is set. He's a pitcher who has a real good slider on the next delivery. It's fouled off on the right side, backing out of play. Hinshaw last year played mostly at AA Arkansas. He was also in the Arizona League for a brief time. And that was because of a thumb injury that he suffered. He missed some 10 weeks last season. Hit .291. Doesn't hit for much power. Good batting average. Had 30 stolen bases last year. Here's the pitch. And a close pitch just missed. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 15th round pick of the Angels back in 2013. Non-roster invitee, getting a chance to see a little action today for the Halos in the Cactus League opener. Canto set. Here's the next one. It's grounded sharply, but right to third. Easy play for Arroyo. His throw is just in time. Mentioned Hinshaw can run the 30 steals last year, and that was a pretty close play, but 2 are gone here in the 9th inning. And the last 12 Angels set down in a row. Kyle Kubica will bat. He's been up once with a strikeout. And the first pitch, he takes that one for ball 1. After the ball game, we'll be going down to Jose Mota. He's going to try and get some comments from Angels manager Mike Scioscia. Here's the next pitch. Drilled into center field. Arias is there to make the grab, and the ball game is over. It kind of died a little bit. It looked like it was hit a little bit better than it was. Still got out to center field quickly. And on that line out to center field, that'll wrap up today's action here for the Angels and the Cactus League opener. Quiet 9th, no runs, hits, or errors, and nobody left. So the Giants come away with the victory today. They beat the Angels by the final score of 4-1. Angels will be in Tempe tomorrow for the Cactus League home opener. That'll be Garrett Richards taking on the Oakland A's at Tempe Diablo Stadium. Angels today held to just 1 run on 4 hits. The Giants had 4 runs and 9 hits in today's ball game. Angels defensively today committed 1 error. And as far as the Giants in today's ball game, they were solid defensively. No errors in the ball game. Angels left only 4 runners on base, while the Giants today stranded a total of 8. So the Angels have 1 in the books here in Arizona, and we'll get ready to continue Cactus League play tomorrow, as I mentioned, against the Oakland A's. Also on tap for the Angels this coming weekend, games against the White Sox and the Seattle Mariners. Those 2 games will be away from Tempe Diablo. Let's go down to Jose Mota and Angels manager Mike Scioscia.
Thank you, Terry. Well, Mike, how nice is it for any manager, for yourself, to finally get out of the backfields, BP drills, and get into some games?
Oh, it's fun to get into game mode for sure, Jose. Our guys are ready for it. Trying to get their feet under them in the batter's box and just maybe take those baby steps forward. Did a lot of good things on the field today. Unfortunately, the score wasn't in our favor, but we did some good things.
From Hector Santiago, from Matt Shoemaker, from both, what did you see? What did you like the best?
Well, Hector Sharp, I think him commanding his secondary pitches was important today. Had good fastball, threw some good changeups, and did a good job. And Matt Shoemaker looked much better in second inning. Just missed that 1-0 fastball to Connor Gillespie that was a home run. Outside of that, he looked good.
What about the rest of the staff and with the regular players, the guys that did not play today? How do you expect to incorporate them back into the action?
Well, they didn't play today, but they worked out hard back in Tempe, and we'll get a lot of them in there tomorrow. By the weekend, all these guys should be in games, and we'll just take them one step at a time.
Any particular area you're looking at mostly, whether lineup or position-wise, that you're paying attention to here this early?
I don't know if there's one in particular. So many important components of putting a team together that you hope is going to be championship caliber, from the bullpen depth to the to the rotation and how your bench is going to unfold. So there's a lot for us to evaluate.
Mike, thank you, and have a good spring.
All right, Jose, thanks.
Terry, welcome back, and let's go right back to you.
Again, want to remind you here from Scottsdale Stadium, the Giants over the Angels in the Cactus League opener by the final of 4-1. For those of you watching on TV, Jose, along with Alex Curry, will have a lot more post-game analysis. And on the radio side, we'll have more for you from Scottsdale as well. This is the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West.